In a forgotten village cradled by mist and plum trees, there lived a lantern maker named Lian. Her house stood at the edge of a withered garden, where blossoms no longer bloomed and the earth had grown weary of spring. Once, that garden had been alive, sweet with the scent of plum petals, tangled with laughter and light. Once, her hands had held more than paper and thread. Once, she was loved. His name was Jun. He had eyes like the early dusk and a voice that made promises feel like silk. He carved her name into bamboo, tied plum blossoms in her hair, and vowed he would return before the flowers fell. But war listens to no vows. One winter, a royal edict came, every man to the front. Jun kissed her forehead beneath the sleeping plum tree. "Wait for me," he said, "just one more spring." The men left with swords. The women waited by their doors. Then he was gone. Seasons passed. No letters, no word, no return. He vanished into smoke and silence. His name faded to an echo. The garden forgot how to bloom. Every year, when spring trembled awake and the river began to stir, Lian lit a lantern for him, one lantern, always the same. She painted it in soft crimson, brushed with white plum petals, and wrote his name beneath the fold, where no one could see but him. Then she whispered to the wind, "If your soul still wanders, follow the light." She would kneel at the river's edge, barefoot in the frost-slicked grass, and let it drift into darkness. It never came back, until the 7th year. That night, the wind was colder than memory. The moon, veiled in cloud, looked down as if afraid to watch. Lian lit the lantern. The flame flickered, struggled, then died. The lantern floated for a moment, spun in a quiet circle, then turned. It drifted back to shore, unlit, as if it had found what it was looking for, or perhaps as if it refused to leave her behind. Her hands trembled. She gathered it, took it home, and that night she dreamed of plum blossoms, falling, rising, then blooming again. At dawn, she heard the sound, the garden gate. It creaked open. It had not moved in 7 years. She stepped into the pale morning light, breath caught in her throat. There, beneath the gnarled plum tree, in the very heart of what had died, lay a man. His robes were frayed with time, his hair dusted with blossom petals, his face familiar, older, weathered, but undeniably Jun. She called his name. He stirred, eyes fluttering open like wings. "Lian," he whispered, as if waking from 1,000 winters. "I followed the light. It smelled like you." He remembered her, but nothing else. Not the war, not the village, not even his own face in the mirror of her tears. Only her name. She told him stories beside the tree, of stolen fruit, of laughter, of the way he once kissed her shoulder like it was sacred. He listened with reverence, as if each word rebuilt the man he once was. But strange things followed. He never touched food, never left footprints. And when she tried to hold his hand, her fingers passed through it, like smoke slipping between shadows. He was here, but not alive. That night, Lian lit another lantern, but this time she asked nothing, only listened. The river answered in silence, the garden in wind. And when she returned to him, Jun looked at her not as a man, but as something made from memory, sustained by longing. "I searched for you," he said, "but I don't know where I was. You never came home. I didn't know how." She touched his face. Her hand trembled through him, light brushing mist. "You're not real," she whispered. "I'm real enough to remember your name." That year, spring came early. The garden bloomed. Plum blossoms opened like sighs, trembling in the breeze, as if awakened by a kiss. They walked beneath the boughs, saying little. What was there to say, between a ghost and the woman who kept his soul alive? The night before the last petal would fall, he stood at the center of the garden. The moonlight passed through him now, fainter, slipping. "You kept me here," he said, "with your love, your lanterns, your voice." "I didn't mean to," she said, breaking. "I know." She reached for him again. Her hands closed on nothing, but still, he smiled. "I'm not afraid anymore." He leaned close, placed a kiss just above her brow, where he had kissed her once, before the war. And then, he was gone. No thunder, no farewell, only petals falling, and light, returning to the stars. She stood alone beneath the blooming tree, and then saw them. Lanterns, dozens, drifting above the branches, glowing without flame, without hand or match. They pulsed gently in the night like breath. She had not made them, but they remembered her. The villagers came. They stared, open-mouthed, whispered tales. Did she hang them? Are they real? But no ladder could reach so high. No wind held lanterns so still. Lian said nothing. She simply sat beneath the plum tree, the scent of blossoms in her hair, and smiled. Years passed. She grew silver-haired and still. And when she left this world, as all lovers must, a new lantern appeared beside the others, painted in crimson, brushed with white blossoms. It floats there now, above the garden that is no longer withered. The lanterns still bloom each spring. They say if you visit on the first night of blossom fall, when the wind smells like longing, you'll see them too. And if you listen, you might hear her whisper, "Return, if you remember me." And in the hush that follows, you'll know he did.